Cakes can be beautiful, festive, and delicious. Cakes often play a major role in many of the celebrations of our lives. For as long as I can remember, I have enjoyed eating, baking, and decorating cakes. Lately, I've discovered how much I love to draw them as well. Today, I'd like to share with you some fun and easy strategies for drawing cakes. So in order to get started, we can first think about a rectangle and how we can use that rectangle repeatedly to create our tiers. So we can stack smaller rectangles on top of larger rectangles. And there we would have our tiers. Let's get started. For the first cake, we'll stack 3 rectangles right on top of each other, creating a 3-tiered cake. And our cake will sit on just a plain rectangular cake pedestal. So we'll use a narrow rectangle to create kind of the pedestal look. And we'll just sit it right on top of another rectangle. Now that we have the structure of our cake, we can add decorations. Let's do a curved line in the middle of our top rectangle and continue the curved line off to the sides. I like to start in the middle because that way it works out a lot better. We'll continue doing that on all of the tiers. Very nice. Now we will add some ruffles, very tiny ruffles, to the curved lines that we've already drawn along each tier of our cake. Excellent job. Let's keep going until we finish. Excellent job, and I bet a little color would really make this pop. That was amazing. Now let's think about what we want to sit our cakes on. Let's think about cake pedestals for just a moment. Our first cake pedestal is super easy. We just start with a very narrow rectangle, 2 lines right beneath it, 2 slanted lines, and a line across the bottom. For our next pedestal, we'll also start with a simple rectangle, nice and narrow. And a base that's more like a trapezoid. For our next cake pedestal, we'll draw a straight line. Right beneath our straight line, we'll do a curved line, followed by another curved line, and another until we close it up on the right. Then we'll come over and finish it off doing the same thing on the left. Two curved lines coming towards each other and a straight line across the bottom. Very easy, very nice. For our next pedestal, we'll do the same straight line and we'll do these curved lines. And we'll come out and curve the opposite way on both sides to close it up. Very nice. And our 2 lines curving inward, followed by another straight line at the bottom for the base. Excellent job! Now, let's think about icing flowers that we might add to some of our cakes. Icing flowers are so nice and they can be so simple, so we'll try these 2 simple versions of icing flowers. The first flower is just a quick little swirl that can remind us of a rose, sort of an icing rose. And you can stop there if you want. It'll still be a cute rose, just like that, or kind of a rosette. Or you can do that same thing and add a few more petals. So there's our little swirly rose. And here we have some petals. I like to do the curved lines connecting just like this. Very cute. So now that one looks a little more open. Let's add leaves. Very nice. Now, let's take a close-up look at this leaf. Follow along. So try the leaf because we will see this leaf again in several of our cakes. Now, for some of our cakes, I just kind of tend to doodle these little rosettes really quickly and really loosely. And this is when I just want to add the colored rose without drawing it out first. Sometimes I just like to doodle these right on top of the cake. So these are quick and easy. And here's that leaf again. So for our next flower, we will make these teardrop shaped loops and we will go all the way around until it meets the first part. This is maybe more like a daisy type flower, and we can add that same leaf. There we have it. Nice job. So for this cake, we'll keep our rectangles in mind, but we will leave a little space for the placement of our little rosettes and leaves. So right now, I'm leaving the top open. And leaving a little space right at the bottom. I'll come up here and close the top just a little. Where we're leaving just a little space on the right. And there's our leaf from before. We're going to fit that right in there. And a little rosette at the top. And it looks like we need a few more petals, maybe another tiny rosette on the far right. And another leaf. We'll come down here to the bottom, add another rosette and another leaf. And another rosette. And another leaf. Now let's sit this cake on one of our easy cake pedestals that we've already learned about using simple shapes and lines. Feel free to add the colors of your choice. Now we'll start another 3-tier cake, very similar to the one we did before, with our 3 rectangles stacked on top of each other, just like before. This time, we'll do one of the fancy cake pedestals using the curved lines beneath our straight line. So I always like to start in the middle. This helps us to get it a little more even. And we continue just like in the previous example when we did our pedestals. Curved lines, and 2 curved lines coming toward each other. They're curving toward the center. And then a straight line right at the bottom. Easy breezy. Now that we have the structure of our cake, let's begin to decorate it. And just like before, we will add those curved lines all along the cake. Once again, I like to start in the middle so that it really helps to get it even. And we'll continue to do that along all of the tiers, just like the other 3-tier cake that we did before, like this. For this one, instead of wavy lines, we will add more little curved lines. So we'll keep adding these little bumps to the first set of curved lines. This is coming along beautifully, and this is another very simple way to add beautiful decorations to your cake. Now that we're done, let's see it in color. For this next cake, we are still thinking about our rectangles, only now we've had so much practice, we are great at leaving spaces where we need to leave them for our decorations. So in this case, I'm leaving space at the top left and sort of the bottom right of this first tier. This will, by the way, be another 3-tier cake. However, this one will be taller than our previous cakes that consisted of 3 tiers. And here's our daisy that we've already gone over. Easy breezy, those loops coming around. Here is a second daisy, very easy, same thing, loops going all around. So now there's one on the top and the bottom of our first tier. And we're going to just double that line to create kind of a very clean, very simple border at the top. So let's work on the second tier. This is basically just another rectangle. And now we'll start to draw in our third tier. Just adding another daisy here at the bottom. And one more simple border. Now we will begin to think about what we will sit this cake on. Instead of a pedestal, this time I think we'll just sit it on a very simple cake plate using a trapezoid. It looks great. And once again, I bet a little color would really make this pop. So after coloring this one, I decided to take it a little further by adding these little swirly designs coming out of the flowers. And once again, just beginning to add our very simple leaves that we've covered already. Our next cake might be the fanciest. We're still thinking about our rectangles, yet leaving space for where we know that we want flowers or leaves or decorations. And we're starting with that swirly rose design that we covered earlier. We're just going to add a curved line. It's curving outward toward the left, and some of those tiny leaves. In this cake, we're putting together a lot of what we've learned with the previous cakes so that it doesn't seem as complicated as long as we follow the steps. Follow along as I do some of the familiar things that we've done to those previous cakes. It looks amazing. I honestly think this is my favorite. Let's see it with a little color and a little more. And a little more. Still simple, but quite elegant. Very nice job. Our next two cakes are super fun, super easy, and they both have faces. Let's start with the first cake. We'll use these two parallel lines. And we will start to go ahead and create our cake pedestal that it's sitting on, starting with that rectangle. Once again, another narrow rectangle and a trapezoid base. Two lines curving downward, and I've placed these two lines very close to the line on the right because this will make our cake look like it's turning that way. Very easy curved lines for the eyelashes and a nice smile. So for this, we can combine our very pretty swirly roses with some swirly vines. And our beautiful leaves. And you can just fill in the top with your beautiful leaves, vines, swirly roses, and maybe even some of the daisies that we've drawn. Come up with different combinations to make the top of your cake very interesting. So we'll finish that top of the rectangle there, as you can see. And we'll add tiny leaves to this one. Just going along our vine, that tiny leaf that we've done in some of our previous cakes. This looks cute, but I bet a little color would really make it pop. For our second cake with the face, we will start just like the first. Only this time we'll bring a line across the top, making our rectangle just a little more complete. We'll leave space for flowers. We'll come down and do another cake pedestal. Using our very narrow rectangle once again. Now we will head back to the top to begin our flowers. Here's our daisy once again, using those teardrop-shaped loops. Just like we've done before. We'll combine our daisies and our swirly roses from before. And you can decide how you need to overlap these. Just have a lot of fun. So far, so good. So we'll come down to the bottom and finish off our pedestal just before adding eyes and a smile. Very cute. Now let's see it with a little color. So much fun. Our final cake is a lot like the last two cakes, only this one doesn't have a face. And once again, we're using our same easy flowers to complete the top. Follow along. I really hope you've enjoyed our tutorial today, and for more fun and easy drawing tutorials, find us on YouTube.
Easy art to try.